Imagine building the largest, most sophisticated fortress in human history. You know every single stone. But then you realize the enemy isn't trying to breach your walls. They're like simply floating right over them. Welcome to today's deep dive. We're looking at a huge stack of research today, and our mission is basically to challenge this comforting myth that your expertise protects you. Because that fortress scenario, I mean, that is exactly what is happening to Google right now with generative AI.
It really is. I mean, it is the ultimate case of incumbent panic. Google is arguably the most sophisticated information company ever built, right? They have the talent, the massive infrastructure, all the data.
Yeah, exactly.
But their vast expertise actually made them, slower to respond, not faster, which really forces us to ask, is deep knowledge the actual problem? Or is it the rigid structures that expertise builds around itself?
Right. Well, computer scientist Pedro Domingos actually argues that knowledge is a double-edged sword. It lets you absolutely dominate a stable domain, but it completely blinds you to the exact moment that domain changes.
Yeah, that blindness. That perfectly explains why massive companies fail while outsiders just sweep in and win.
And looking through our source material, it seems like everyone confuses sustaining innovation with actual disruption.
Oh, they totally do. If you break down the 3 types of innovation, well, efficiency is just cutting costs, right?
Yeah.
Sustaining innovation is doing what you already do, just a bit better.
So like a Kenyan bank launching a slightly faster app for its existing customers and calling it, digital transformation.
Exactly, yes. But disruptive innovation changes the rules entirely. Just think about M-Pesa. It didn't try to be a better bank.
Right.
It just bypassed traditional banks completely, turning mobile airtime into currency and targeting millions that the banks completely ignored.
And the really fascinating part is who drove that? Harvard's Karim Lakhani points out that huge innovations usually come from outsiders.
Right, the outsider advantage.
Because they aren't, hyper-specialized in the industry. They aren't blinded by its traditional rules. They just reframe the problem entirely.
Which is such a massive advantage.
Okay, but let me push back on this a bit. If outsiders win by constantly adapting, how does that work in actual reality? Like, if I'm running a heavily regulated business in Nairobi, my investors and regulators, they demand a rock-solid long-term plan. I can't just move fast and break things when the cost of a mistake is some massive compliance fine.
No, that's a really fair point. Plans absolutely matter for alignment. But the illusion is thinking that your plan will actually survive contact with reality. I mean, look at the ultimate visionary Michelangelo. We have this whole master plan myth about him.
Oh, right. That he just saw the perfect figure inside the marble and flawlessly chipped away the excess.
Exactly. But art historian William Wallace proved that's completely false. Michelangelo was actually this relentless test and learn iterator.
Wait, really? He didn't have a plan?
No, he constantly changed his mind. He actually abandoned 3/5 of his sculptures. He didn't have perfect foresight at all. He just had a really good process for testing what worked.
Wow. So even the greatest masterpieces were basically rough drafts that kept getting revised. That's wild. It makes you think about your own workplace, honestly. Are you trapped inside this rigid plan and implement prison where you get punished for pivoting? Or are you allowed to just relentlessly test and learn? Because that messy, iterative reality completely clashes with our polished professional identities.
Oh, big time.
Especially here in Kenya. Professional identity relies so heavily on credentials and titles. We all want to look like flawless master planners on our carefully worded LinkedIn profiles.
Right. Nobody posts their abandoned 3/5 on LinkedIn.
Exactly. But the harsh reality is you are what you do, not what you say you do.
And doing the actual work, well, it requires a balance of perspectives. The physicist Freeman Dyson argued that organizations need 2 types of thinkers to execute. You have visionary birds and focused frogs.
Okay, so birds fly high, surveying the broad concepts and spotting the horizon.
Right, and frogs live down in the mud, solving the intricate day-to-day details.
They need each other, clearly. If you only have birds, you just have lofty ideas with zero execution. But what happens if a company only promotes frogs?
You get a total disaster. Dyson warned against a world overflowing with narrow specialist frogs. I mean, they might be amazing at optimizing the mud, but they are entirely unable to adapt when the swamp itself dries up.
If leaders can't switch between that visionary bird and the detailed frog, they just can't adapt. And we're seeing this exact same lack of adaptability at the entry level, too, with the skills mismatch among Kenyan graduates.
Oh, absolutely. The gap between what universities test for and what the market actually demands is huge. In an AI era where, regurgitating facts is practically free, having a degree that just proves you can memorize information is bordering on useless.
So for anyone listening, what do you actually do on Monday morning? Like, how do you fix that?
You have to stop trying to be the person who just has the answers and start being the person who finds the right questions. Look at your industry, talk to the frogs in the mud, figure out the actual problems customers are having, and pitch a solution. That ability to harvest problems and think critically, that is the actual job description of the future.
Surviving disruption really isn't about protecting your fortress.
Mm.
It requires testing, iterating, and just seeing what everyone else misses.
Yeah, it means bringing in the kind of thinking you just cannot generate alone. And if you're navigating this shift and you need to have that conversation, the team at aCatalyst genuinely wants to be a part of it. You can find them at www.acatalyst.co.ke.
Awesome. Well, we will leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. Is your current greatest area of expertise the very thing hiding your next big opportunity?